What's going on, everyone? It's Alex here from Alex Physio. Today we're going to be going over 3 exercises for winged scapula. Welcome. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Alexander Kravich. I'm a physiotherapist in Vancouver, British Columbia. Today we're going to be going over 3 exercises that you can do for a winged scapula or to improve your serratus anterior muscle. So just a quick recap before we get going. The serratus anterior muscle is basically a wing-shaped muscle, also called the boxer's muscle. It originates on the inside of our shoulder blade and attaches onto ribs 1 to 8. The primary role of this muscle is to protract our shoulder blades, as if you were to think about doing a punch, protracting your shoulder blades, and also it's responsible for upwardly rotating your shoulder in overhead movements. The first exercise we're going to do is we're going to grab a thin or a medium tension band, long band, and we're going to put our feet over top of one end. We're going to start with our palms facing towards us and our elbows and forearms parallel to each other. And from here, we're basically trying to lift straight overhead. We're doing banded overhead press. Okay, overhead, come back to the start. Different angle, overhead, and come back down. Obviously with the band there's going to be more tension the higher up you go, so your goal is to try to get full elbow extension, ribs down, looking straight ahead. And then even to make it a little bit more challenging, we can try to pull the band horizontally, so out to the side, as we're doing that, just to get a little bit more muscle activation. We're trying to not shrug our shoulders as we're lifting our arms overhead. So pull out and overhead, or just start off just regularly overhead. But putting that tension on the band increases that muscle activation. So much harder than it looks, and you're going to want to start with a thinner band to see how it is, and you're trying to not compensate by arching your back to get overhead. So that's exercise 1, our banded overhead press. Exercise 2, we're going to do our scapular push-ups. So what this is going to look like is we're getting in a push-up position, feet together, hands shoulder width apart. You're trying to let your shoulder blades squeeze together, and then you're trying to push them apart. Okay, so let gravity squeeze your shoulder blades together and push them apart, round your shoulder blades. The key here is as you're letting them squeeze together, you're trying to not bend your elbows to get down into it. You're keeping your elbows locked, squeeze your shoulder blades while keeping it locked, and come back to the start and round. Okay? So sometimes this exercise is a little bit challenging to get from a motor control perspective. So the way you can think about it, or way you can start off with to make it easier, is just starting on a wall. Okay, you're trying to keep your hands straight and you're just trying to squeeze your shoulder blades and push apart. So you're only using your shoulder blades in the movement. You're not bending your elbow as you're coming closer and then straightening. Your shoulders are locked, your elbows are locked. You're just moving at your shoulder blades. Okay, so that's exercise 2, the scapular push-ups. Exercise 3, we're going to do a banded wall slide. Okay, so what this is going to look like is we're going to start with the band. We're going to loop it around our wrists, and we're going to start by applying just a little bit of tension on the band. Okay, from here we're in a split stance position, so one foot in front of the other. We're pushing our forearms into the wall to generate a little bit of that tension and also generate a bit of that shoulder protraction. Remember we talked about that being one of the 2 muscle functions of the serratus muscle. And as we have that tension on the band, we're trying to slide our arms overhead and come back down to the start. Okay, looking straight ahead, chin tucked, come overhead, going to that upward rotation movement and coming back down. Okay, so one more time, keep the tension on the band, keep the tension the whole time, slide up and come back down. Again, this exercise is much more challenging than it looks, so you want to start with a band that's a little bit less in resistance, light or light to medium, and just really try to work on the mechanics first, even before you try to add a lot of weight on. So even without the band, you can try to do it just with body weight. So forearms parallel and just trying to lift up and then come back down. Trying to go in a bit of a diagonal as you go up, as you come down. You see with the band, it is a little bit harder to maintain that position as you're coming up higher because of the demands on the muscles that are being applied, especially with the tendency for you to try to keep them parallel. There may be a tendency for them to come inward slightly, as what you saw a bit there. Regardless, it's something that we know will get challenging as you go up higher in the range. So it's up to you to decide how challenging you want the exercise to be in terms of using a band or not, how much resistance there is. But for the early stages, it'd be also good just to start without the band and go from there. There you have it. We went over 3 exercises that you can do to try to improve your serratus anterior muscle strength. Some people, if they have quite a bit of weakness or lack of motor control, they could develop something called a wing scapula. And this is something that isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can be cosmetically unappealing to the individual. However, it doesn't necessarily need to be a bad thing. But if you do have shoulder pain or pain around your mid-back area, then this sometimes may be contributing to that. So it's important to try to work on building up the strength and the motor control in that muscle, because it does play a key role in our overall shoulder health. Over the overhead serratus banded press, we went over the scapular push-ups, and we went over the banded wall slide. Do you have a wing scapula? Do you have trouble with serratus muscle strength, or is this something that you don't necessarily include in part of your strength and conditioning or your rehab or prehab program? Let me know down below if you've tried any of these exercises before and how your experience has gone with regards to your overall recovery. If you found this video valuable, please consider checking out some of my other videos. I have over 500 videos on various physio, exercise, and medical related topics. And if you still find value, please consider subscribing to my channel. It really allows my channel to grow and allows me to reach a wider audience. Until then, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.